the Virginia Horse Industry Board, and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Rocher. Today we travel to Floyd County and visit with equine journalist Tom Moats. Then Chris Mullins has tips on growing sweet potatoes from the ground up. We'll also have the ag calendar and a Minute in the Field video. All this plus your ag news of the week on this edition of Virginia Farming. If you have peanut allergies, some relief may be in sight. The USDA's Technology Transfer Program has been making discoveries for years. Currently, they're working on procedures to remove up to 98% of the allergens from peanuts without affecting the flavor. They're also creating a new process for pasteurizing shelled eggs using radio frequency energy that is 1.5 times faster than the current process. Something else they're working on is a portable method for identifying harmful bacteria in food that could improve the response to foodborne illness outbreaks. Noted past innovations include permanent press cotton clothing and frozen orange juice concentrate. Well, eligible farmers can enroll in the agriculture risk coverage and price loss coverage programs for this year and last year through September 30th. The new programs trigger financial protections for agricultural producers when market forces cause substantial drops in crop prices or revenues. Covered commodities include barley, canola, large and small, chickpeas, corn, oats, peanuts, soybeans, and more. For information, visit the web address on your screen. One executive chef for Southwest Energy is passionate about good beef. He tells Cindy Campbell why.
Rick Rosser has years of experience cooking up great beef, and he always enjoys the chance to interact with those who are producing it.
You don't just have a cow, put them in a field, and I mean, there's work that goes along with that. You know, you're vaccinating, you're making sure they're okay, you're checking on them daily, making sure there's water. And, you know, I don't think the average person, you know, I'm sure the average person doesn't know all of what goes into a day for a rancher.
Likewise, the chef wants cattlemen to see he and his colleagues are as dedicated to driving beef demand as they are.
I hope that they get a more understanding of the passion that we have for, you know, being as good as we can be, quite honestly, and providing good food and a great steak. It's easy to do that when you start with the simple and the basics.
When restaurateurs use quality beef, that variable no longer has to be top of mind for them.
You go to the steakhouse not just because it's got a great steak. As a restaurant, you focus on everything else. You got to make sure you got a good glass of tea, make sure the server is correct. But when you don't have to worry about the steak, that's 90% of your business, it's a no-brainer.
Rosser wants to make beef shine and has this pledge for farmers and ranchers.
You worry about your 22 months, and I'm going to worry that my 10 minutes represents all the hard work that you put in. So you focus on your 22 months, and I'm going to focus on my 10 minutes. That's a promise.
I'm Cindy Campbell.
Thanks, Cindy. Virginia's Ag in the Classroom will hold a summer series of free professional development workshops for teachers in pre-K through 5th grade. Each will feature agriculture-related classroom activities that meet current educational standards. Participants will receive resource kits that include curriculum materials covering science, mathematics, language arts, social studies, and health. The workshops will be held at the locations on your screen. For more information, visit agintheclass.org. Well, he's an award-winning equine author and journalist. We'll visit with Tom Moats straight ahead on Ag Insights. today we are in the Appalachian Mountains and we're visiting with equine author Tom Moats. Tom and his buddy Chief here. Tom, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, Amy, I'm an equestrian author and journalist and also a horseman. I write books. I've got quite a few books out, and I also work for most of the major horse magazines in this country and a couple overseas in England and Australia as well. I was a writer, and I was obsessed with writing. Then I got obsessed with horses in my 30s, so I started later in life than some people. And now the horse obsession met the writing obsession, and that was really when the writing career kind of took off for me.
Is your background horses? Did you grow up on a farm?
I grew up on a dairy farm, so if anything, my background is cattle.
Okay.
But I did not have a background in horses. I had fed some along the way. I had ridden a couple times. And as my first book, which is called Discovering Natural Horsemanship, it begins with this ad in the paper that my wife saw, quarter horse Amish trained. And that's a horse that we ended up bringing here. I'd been married for a decade when that happened. And so we brought that horse home. That horse's name is Niji. He's still here with us. And that kind of was the beginning of the horse thing for me.
So what publications do you write for?
Well, I'm on the masthead at Equus magazine, which a lot of people are familiar with Equus. I contribute all the time to a really cool magazine called Eclectic Horseman. It's a magazine put out in Colorado. It's a subscriber-based magazine. And what I like about it so much is it's not really a glossy magazine. It's a magazine that's dedicated to people trying to improve their horsemanship. So there's a lot of information and material that gets in there that's, maybe not as sexy as it would be in some other magazines. I also write for the American Quarter Horse Association magazine. So America's Horse, the membership magazine, the American Quarter Horse Journal. I'm frequently in those and really enjoy quarter horses. So that's just one of my loves. And I've been in Western Horseman frequently, just quite a few others. Just a lot of the major horse magazines I've written for over time as a freelancer. But those are the major ones I'm writing for now.
But you also have a series of now 5 books. What is that series about?
All right, I've got a total of 7 horse books out and a series of 5 that's sort of my best known work. The series is an ongoing memoir of my experiences of trying to improve my horsemanship with the guidance of my mentor, the patient guidance of Harry Whitney, who is a horsemanship clinician based in Arizona. Harry's been traveling for about 3 decades, and so the horsemanship that I've learned really has come directly from his teaching, and then I've put that into practice and basically ended up with more wrecks, more questions, things like that, and more experimentation. So as I've gone through that, I've put that down honestly on the page for other people to read, and so it's kind of the books I wish I could have read when I started out and when I was at different points along the journey. Just try to be real honest about the difficulties, and each chapter is kind of a lesson. So you pick up in the beginning and there'll be a wreck or some trouble that I had, and then how I got that sorted out, or maybe sometimes didn't get it sorted out, but how I improved my horsemanship, picked up another tool for the toolbox of horsemanship. That's what those chapters are about. And I didn't intend to write 5 books about that, but that have it's just grown. It's just grown
happened.
Out of the experience. Yeah, I felt the need to put it down, and people have responded to it amazingly. It's been a real blessing to be able to put those out.
Well, the latest book in that series is called Passing It On. Mm-hmm. What's that one deal with in particular?
Well, somewhere along the line I got to the point where people started asking me questions about their horses here locally, and I started working more and more. So I finally started doing that as sort of a side business, going out and helping people with their horsemanship. I do some day clinics around Southwest Virginia here. And that book is called Passing It On because it's about the point in my experience with horses that I realized I could pass some of this knowledge on to other people. I mean, I always kind of thought of myself just as learning about horsemanship, and I still feel that way. But, you know, I realize now that, you know, I have so much to give back to other folks. So that book is really about my experience of starting to give back and what's involved with that.
And hence the title, Passing
Yeah,
It On,
hence
right?
the title. The cover is a shot of my grandson, Jake, who was 7 at the time, and the horse Niji, and me walking kind of away to put him up, and Jake's leading him. So it's kind of the perfect image for what that book is about.
Right. Now, aside from riding, you also train horses too, right?
I do, yeah.
All right. So tell us, how did you get into that?
And I don't know that I'd call it training so much. It's a term I stay away from because I think people think of trainers. They think of trainers that work with horses that are going to show, going to compete. That's not what I do. What I do is I work with people with their horses in the environments where they have their own horses. So I don't bring horses in here. And what I think I do is I help people with the relationships with their horses. So whatever issues people might be having, we work on trying to get their horse better with them, better communication going. So it doesn't matter about the discipline, doesn't matter about the type of horse.
Right.
It's really about that
The
relationship.
interaction with the owner and the horse.
Yes.
Well,
So I travel to them often.
Okay.
Instead of people coming here. You know, I'll do clinic days. There are groups of people that get 4 or 5 horses together, and we'll go out and make a day of it at a place that's maybe a 2-hour drive from me, something like that.
right. And then people come to you that way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. So is working these horses a constant learning experience for you?
Yeah, absolutely it is. I don't go out and work with other folks and their horses that I don't learn something new, see something maybe I knew one way that presents slightly differently, you know, and so I'm always growing as a horseman. And I think with horses, there's so much in there that is a potential. How do I say this? You know, we don't really teach horses things. We unlock the ability for things horses can do to be done with people, right? We don't
So we
teach.
could kind of understand the way they think a little bit, maybe?
Yes, yeah, maybe. For instance, you know, we talk about, teaching a horse flying lead changes. You watch a horse in a pasture, you see that happen.
Right.
We don't teach it. The thing is, can we come together and have that lead change occur while we're on their backs, that kind of thing. All the things horses can do already exist within the horse. All the things people can do already, you know, with horses already exist within us. How do we bring that out? How do we get the horse to do it? And really a lot of what my learning is about is not even getting things going with the horse better, but getting them going where the horse can do them in a relaxed way. So much of the trouble we see with horses today, anywhere, on the trail, in the show ring, when they deal with people, is tension coming in the horse. And it causes, you know, a lot of issues between people and horses. And so a lot of what I do is really to learn how to improve the relationship between the horse and the person so that things can be done together and in a relaxed and happy way with the horse as well as the person.
Absolutely. How do you think your method of working horses is different from others?
Well, the huge thing that is different, that is noticeably different is, and I get this from Harry Whitney, my mentor that I learned from, you know, this is straight Harry Whitney, is working with a horse's thought. The first book in the series is called A Horse's Thought for that very reason. I had a book before that called Discovering Natural Horsemanship, and that was really about just the very beginning when I first started learning about horses. And I don't consider it part of the series, although I think some people might. And in that book, I was going to all the different natural horsemanship people trying to figure out what was going on. And I was an equestrian journalist, so I had access to these people. I could interview all the guys on top.
Everybody. Yeah.
And in the course of doing what I call a roundtable discussion, where I'll take a topic and talk to a lot of different clinicians about it, it was actually about what they call picking up a soft feel in a horse. It's a term that gets kicked around a lot. And I spoke to Harry because a friend of mine had seen Harry's clinics. And it just was instant. It was so different to me. The way Harry took great care to try to explain to me, to choose terms, to try to talk to me about things. And he talked about a horse's thought, and I had not heard anyone address it that way before. And essentially, to put it in maybe a quick way to discuss it is, if you don't have the thought, well, you don't have the horse. And so many people want to address what the horse's body is doing. Well, if the horse is thinking about doing something, he'll take his body himself and do that thing, right?
Right.
So if you want a horse to look off in one direction, you should be able to just suggest that with a finger on the rein and the horse come through because he understands. We don't need increasingly aggressive bits.
Right.
We don't need mechanical devices to make our horses acquiesce to our wishes, to be obedient. What I want is a willing partner. And to get the horse's thought in line with mine, the rest kind of comes together easy. If the horse is thinking about going backwards when you ask him, he'll go backwards. I don't have to get aggressive about that.
Sure. Your books contain a lot of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And you say it's really important to have a good sense of humor when you're working a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Well, I think you'll find that the humor in the books a lot of times is me laughing at myself. and I think that's really it. If you get too serious trying to do something with your horse, it's easy to take things personally that you shouldn't. It's easy to get angry and bring emotions. And when people get angry at horses really don't understand that. If anything, it makes them dubious of people. So if you can just step back and laugh at the situation, laugh at yourself. And I get letters from people and they say, thank you for writing these books. And as a writer, to me, that's about the most important thing I could get, the most wonderful thing. People could say, oh, they're very entertaining, I enjoyed your book, whatever. But when they say thank you for writing the books,
right.
Because, and they say that often because they felt like they were the only one that had these problems. They felt like the only one that had these issues, and so by bearing all, including things that are pretty darn funny sometimes, I have to admit, I think it has helped other horse people that read the books feel that they're not off track, that it's something that we all have these troubles when we're starting out, and people care about their horses so much that they don't want to do the wrong thing. They don't want to set their horse back. They don't want to ruin their horse for good. These are all emotions that I had when I first started working with them.
Well, I think you write with emotions and you write with honesty. And I think people can much more relate to that than someone saying, oh, this is how you do it and never do this, always do that. Well,
yeah, and when I first started publishing the books, I think there were no other books like that out there. There are plenty of books with people saying, this is my program, this is how you do this. My books are not how-tos by any stretch of the imagination, but there are things that people can pick up both on the page and between the lines. There are lessons in there. Every chapter is a lesson, but usually I'm the one trying to learn it.
Right, but you know that if you're trying to learn it, there's someone else out there who's doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I've had wonderful emails from people and wonderful response from the books. It's just a blessing to be able to do that as a living. Well,
if our viewers want to find your books, where do they find them?
Well, the books are available anywhere that you buy books, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. They're also available through my website, tomoates.com. And also, the first book, A Horse's Thought, is available as an ebook. So that would be available at, in Kindle, at Barnes & Noble, on Nook, on Apple, all those places. But the other ones are not out yet. We hope to have them out soon as ebooks.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out for them.
All right.
Tom, thank you so much for having us up here today. It's been a pleasure.
Well, Chief and I are glad y'all came, and we're glad it was such a beautiful day. Thank you for coming.
We'll be right back.
Sweet potatoes are healthy and versatile. Today, Chris Mullins has tips on growing them from the ground up.
Hi, and welcome to Virginia State University's Randolph Farm. Today we're going to be talking about sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, you might think about Thanksgiving. That's when you usually eat them, but they're good all throughout the year. They're very healthy for you. They have a lot of vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, calcium, and they're sometimes maybe thought to be a little bit better than white potatoes. They're also very easy to grow, and you as a home gardener should have no problem growing sweet potatoes in your garden. All right, well, we're in this sweet potato patch here. You can see they're growing really well. We've got some that we just dug up. It's a little early right now that we've dug these, so they're a little small. The longer that they stay in the ground, the larger they're going to get. This is a red variety. This is called Puerto Rico, but there are a lot of different varieties out there. Red flesh, orange flesh, even some stringy ones like this. There's a variety called Haman. It's a white sweet potato, very, very sweet. Ones that you might find that do best in the garden are ones like Georgia Jet or Centennial. Also, Beauregard is a great variety. It is grown commercially, but it can also do very well in the home garden because it's very productive. You get a lot of sweet potatoes out of your field. So if you were going to grow these, it'd be best to have sandy soil. But if you're not in a sandy location, if you've got heavy clay soils, you might want to amend that soil with a little bit of organic matter or some compost to kind of make a little better environment for those sweet potatoes to grow. Because this is the root part that we're harvesting, right? One thing about sweet potatoes for the home garden, they're nice because they don't have a lot of disease or insect problems. But one thing to think about are weeds. As you see these plants here, they've vined over the row middles. There's not much chance of weeds growing through here now because all the sun's being blocked. But until this happens, until these vines cover over, you're going to need to make sure all the weeds are out of the row middles. You can pull them out or use a hoe and cultivate in between there. Now, you're seeing the plants now towards the end of the season. Now let's think about at the beginning of the season planting these. The best thing for the home grower to do is to go buy sweet potato slips. Those are the pulled plants that can be then transplanted into the ground. You can make a hill and plant these in the ground, put the plants within the row about 2 to 3 feet apart, and have rows that are about 4 to 6 feet apart to give them lots of space because they really do run and move and they'll do really well for you at that spacing. So you've grown your sweet potatoes, now you've got to figure out when to harvest these. Well, like I said before, usually these have maturity dates anywhere from 90 days to 150 days depending on the variety. One way to tell they're ready is as it starts to get colder, these will naturally kind of die back and it's time to harvest them. But you can check them periodically as you get towards that 90-day, 100-day period and see how they've done. They'll get a little larger the longer you keep them in the ground. And to dig them, you usually something like this, a spading fork, digging carefully around the plant area, giving yourself about 8 to 10 inches on each side of the plant, and probably almost a foot deep. And then you just want to gently lift them out of the ground. They come out dirty like this. They're going to be bunched all together. You want to leave them on the surface to dry in the sun for a little bit, a few hours. And then you can take them inside. Don't need to clean them off. And if you want to cure them, they can be cured in warm temperature, somewhere that's relatively dry, about 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 2 weeks. And this will help to make them turn some of that starch into sugar. Then they can just be taken inside and used whenever they're ready to eat. So a real simple process to harvest these. For more information about sweet potato production, please contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener, or look online at the Virginia Cooperative Extension website for a publication about sweet potatoes. For From the Ground Up, we'll see you next time.
Taking a look at the Ag calendar, the 50th annual Pageant of Steam will be held July 24th through 26th on Main Street in Berryville. There will be something for everyone: food, music, children's activities, an antique tractor pull, a horse pull, and more. For more information, visit svsgea.com. That does it for our show. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week. I'm Amy Rocher for Virginia Farming.
From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.